Hi everyone, welcome to a rendering teardown section. My name is Simon and today we'll be dealing with this interior rendering. So this one is actually going to be quite straightforward because, well, almost everything is working. So basically, first thing first, the texturing is really cool. I haven't much to say about it. Really like the wood board here. The floor is really convincing, and I quite like the fact that we have like really nice details for the framing of the window here, window frame. Even the curtain is quite well modeled, even though I'm a little bit unsure about how it sits on the floor, but still it's really cool. And yeah, it's really minimalistic, but still quite interesting image. So now that I've said everything that works, I'm gonna go with the only thing that I think doesn't work, but that makes it, well, I guess, the thing that would make it much better. So basically, the framing is okay, although I'm still a little bit concerned about like the actual image itself. I mean, like we're not close enough to actually see nice details of the model, whether it's obviously modeled, but still like we're quite far away, and we're not far away enough to actually understand the project, which means we're sort of like a middle ground, which is, I'm not sure it's the most interesting part of the, like not the most interesting way of showing your project, but anyway, it's still quite balanced. The problem I do have though is in terms of composition, but in terms of the lighting, or the importance of lighting in composition. As you can see here, if we do like a little diagram, basically this whole area here is like, this area here is super dark. This is a little bit less dark because we have artificial lighting, which is something I don't really like using when you're doing interior rendering in broad daylight. And here we have like nice, the nice natural lighting, sorry, coming in. The problem I do have with that is that we do have like the contrast between the furniture and the ground is okay, like you can see it, but the contrast between the furniture and the curtain is not really good. Like you cannot really see the outline, like you can see it, but still it's not really discernible. And the worst part is when it comes to this sort of bluish wall here, where you just lose all the information in this part. What I would suggest, I think, and it would still keep the same idea, but I think it would be much more convincing, is having our curtain moved. Basically, what I think would be much more interesting would be to move the curtain for about here, something like that. So we'd have our curtain, blah, blah, blah. That way, having our sun, it would sort of make interesting shadows there, which would mean, since it's sort of diffused, that instead of having this as a dark area, we would have a foreground in the darkness, which would completely emphasize the project. That's also the thing, is like, since this is dark, it doesn't emphasize the project, it only emphasizes the exterior, which is not really detailed. Like we see there's some sort of patio, etc., but still it's not really the most interesting part of the image, if you feel me. So what I would suggest is having the curtain here. That way we would get like a nice outline with the light coming to the furniture, and that way we get like a nice outline, just like we have here, but on the chairs. And the second thing is that we would have like a much better understanding of the framing. We would have the nice wall, white wall, coming all the way up here. We would have the bamboos or whatever that is. And the thing is, we would get natural lighting sort of sweeping on on the wall here, which would make it less dark. So we would have, if I turn that off, we would have this super dark, this a little bit dark, and this a little bit brighter because of the sun. And the thing is, we could completely turn off this artificial lighting, which is not really adding anything. So in terms of composition, we would have like a clear idea of the layout and the furniture and whatever. And that would be, I think, a little bit more interesting. We would still get like the idea of having some sort of bloom effects coming from there and etc. But still, I think it would be much more interesting. The other detail I quite like is the painting here. It's not a painting, a photograph, but it's a good thing because when you look at it with the like saturation is okay, nothing to say about that. What I quite like is how this small image manages to create interesting or integrating interesting colors in your otherwise quite familiar wall here. So it's a good way of adding details without overdoing it, so I quite like it. I think that's it. It's a little bit hard to, like, hopefully I was quite clear as to how I wanted to make the image different. I'm going to try to actually Photoshop it, but not live because it might take a little bit more than 5 minutes. But I think I'll just stop there and hopefully I'll manage to do something and so that you can get the idea. So again, that's it for today. As I said, it's quite straightforward, but I think the main idea is just how you was just about composition and how you use light as a way of composing your image, and how in our case I think it wasn't the most relevant way of using it. So yeah, hopefully you've learned interesting stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys. Tonight,